Waive all presentation.
If everyone could please be seated. We're going to start the Sacramento Transportation Authority and the Sacramento Abandoned Vehicle Service Authority
Say yes.
for October 10th, 2019. Madam Clerk?
Yes,
Please
ma'am.
read the statement.
This meeting of the Sacramento Transportation Authority is cablecast live on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel on the Comcast, Consolidated Communications, and the AT&T U-verse cable systems. The meeting is closed caption and webcast at www.sacmetro.cable.tv. Today's meeting will be replayed Sunday, October 13th at 2 p.m. and again on Wednesday, October 16th at 9 a.m. on Channel 14. Members of the audience wishing to address the board may sign up using a speaker card located at the back of the room and bring it to the clerk. Please speak into the microphone addressing the board and state your name for the record.
Okay, could you take the roll, please?
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, Directors Carr,
He's here.
Carr, Frost, Gatewood,
Here.
Gira,
Here.
Hanson, Harris,
Here.
Howell,
Here.
Hume, Kennedy, Lozano, Miller,
Present.
Natoli, Chenier,
Here.
Cerna, and Suen,
Here.
and Peters.
Representing the county.
Thank you. You have a quorum.
Okay, would everyone rise and please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
And to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You want to call your first item?
Your first item is comments from the public regarding matters not on the agenda. And you do have one speaker card I placed in front of you.
But that was on number 6.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. That's correct.
Okay, is there anyone here that wishes to speak on an item that's not on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll go to the Executive Director's report.
Good afternoon. Since our September meeting, we have finally received total revenue figures from the California Department of Fee and Tax Administration, and these figures are split out between among the last 2 fiscal years, rather than being aggregated as they were before. And so for fiscal year 2017-18, out of $122 million, we came within $57,000 of hitting our target right on the nose. For fiscal year 2018-19, we fared even better. We came out of $129 million, we overshot our projection by only $9,000. So we know that projections they're only educated guesses, but it is my goal that we will always strive to be as accurate as possible in putting out any numbers, so that to instill confidence in the public, so that they know that their tax dollars are well managed and are entrusted in good hands. Now, somewhat along those same lines, within the last few weeks, we received some good news regarding the STA's credit rating. Both S&P and Fitch, within the last few weeks, have reaffirmed our AA+ credit rating. AA+ is the second highest rating. And it signifies that the STA has a stable outlook and that we have strong financial backing and good reserves. Continuing along the lines of good stewardship, the Independent Taxpayer Oversight Committee has completed its first ever performance audit of the Measure A program. ITAC Chair Joan Barucki will present the final report today in item 5. Now, about a year and a half ago to 2 years ago, you'll recall that those of you who were on the board at the time, you'll recall that we did a series of transactions regarding our bond program. And it was right after that I had promised the board that I would give you a break and not bring any bond-related activities to you. But that break ends today. The authority's financial advisor, Peter Schellenberger of PFM, and our financial officer, Tim Jones, they always monitor the market and look for opportunities to enhance our program and to save money. And so they will be addressing your board today in item 6. Finally, I wanted to provide you an update on Senate Bill 1 and the $200 million a year local partnership program. Last month, I reported that State SB 277, which would increase how much the STA got every year to pass out to our member agencies. It was overwhelmingly approved by the legislature and then forwarded to the governor. Now, as of today, as of 30 minutes ago, the governor has still not signed it. And his last date to act on that is October 13th, which is only 3 days away. Now, I'm keeping my fingers crossed, and I hope you will too, that the governor will either sign it soon or not sign it at all, which would allow for it to become automatically become law. If that is the case, that would be a big win for everyone in Sacramento County. Now, regardless of what happens with SB 277, the local partnership program schedule has changed. Now, originally, your board was scheduled to decide on a package of projects this December, and then prioritize another package of competitive projects in January. Now, CTC staff has indicated that they've pushed their schedule back by about 3 months. Now, the final due date for all the local partnership program applications is May 18th, which means that your board will have to start handling these projects in at your April meeting and also your May 14th meeting under the guidance of your new executive director, Will Kempton. And you'll notice that today's agenda is very light. In fact, in the 2.5 years that I've been your executive director, this will be probably your shortest meeting. And so now is as good a time as any to thank your board for your patience with my long agendas. But in the last 2.5 years, I think we've covered a lot of ground. We've enacted a lot of new initiative and a lot of new programs. And I think we're getting to the place, getting to be at a really, really good place. So thank you for that. And that concludes the executive director's report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hahn.
Your next item is your consent items 3 through 4 for approval.
I'll move consent.
Second.
Any comments? Okay, please vote.
Unanimous vote with those members present.
Next item, please.
Your next item is your Measure A Performance Audit Report.
Good afternoon. My name's Joan Barucki. I'm your chair of the Independent Taxpayers Oversight Committee.
Welcome, Joan.
Good afternoon. So I'm here on behalf of the ITALC committee to present to you the first Measure A Performance Audit Report. I want to thank the ITALC committee, the STA staff, and our consultants for the effort over the last year that we've put into this report in developing both the objectives for this report as well as the report itself. The audit is concerned with the program, Measure A program's performance, as well as the management of the program, both together from the time of its inception in April 2009 through June 30th, 2018. So it does not include the last fiscal year. The performance audit indicated a very good report, which I think you should all be very proud of. And there were only 2 exceptions that I want to note that came through in the report. The first was on the administrative cost and whether or not the program stayed within the administrative cost. If you look at the report in terms of 2016 and forward, the board and the staff have been doing very, very well with the administrative cost. Unfortunately, prior to 2016, because of the commingling of funds with old measure and new measure money, as well as programs being commingled in that account, there's not a clear picture on the administrative cost. The fortunate part, the good news is, staff caught that and corrected that issue in 2016, so from then forward, we do have a very clear picture of administrative cost. The other item I want to highlight for you is the maintenance of effort objective. And we wanted to specifically look at that since it's called out in the measure itself. To me, this is a very good news item in the audit. What it shows, and again, we only did this based on a sampling of projects, but what it showed is that the dollars that STA has been handing out, allocating to jurisdiction, has been able to leverage a significant amount of state and federal funding. On average, the STA dollars are really only totaling about 35% of the project funding. So you're getting another 60 to 65% in other sources of funds for your projects in the region. And I think that's a very, very good thing. Mm-hmm. And with that, I'll ask you if you have any questions.
Are there any questions?
Good report.
Does anyone? A very good report, I think, and it's understandable what your comments about prior to 2016. We're happy to get that squared away, and generally a very good report. So
yes.
Thank you, and thank you for the committee for all you do. I think everyone on the board is very pleased with the work.
Good.
That particularly since you got here, Joan.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see, that is a receive and file. So we'll move on to the next item.
Your next item is your series.
Oh, I'm sorry, I need to back up. Jeffrey Tartagia wanted to speak on this item, on item 5.
Jeff Tartagia. The two questions going back to your oversight committee would be simply is in the, you say percentage, what was the dollar of that administrative cost in this two measurement of periods? Was there anything significantly changed? And lastly, in projecting for the future, what should we say, dynamics or whatever you are seeking to measure to what you've seen in the past to what you want to look at in the future. And the last piece would be is considering the possibility of recession, is that change anything in assessment or of interest? It's more than actually going to be to the next part of your bond measure, but anyway, that's what for the oversight committee.
Could I address those, please? I believe the first part of the question was regarding the amounts. The amounts are actually listed in the performance audit. Now, what we've done since it was right around, I believe it was 2017, and what we've done with the administrative account is that it was previously held at the county, and it was basically a paper account. And what we've done since then is that it is actually a physically separate account now in a different institution in which our fiduciary actually puts 0.75% into that fund. And so from this point forward, we cannot spend more than an allotment, even if we wanted to. The money simply would not be there. So that is a control that we installed to ensure that there is nothing else that happens, that there won't be future finding regarding that regard. And then finally, regarding the recessions, we have engaged an economist that we work with every year to forecast our revenues. The latest one does show that we will be, it's not necessarily a recession, but there will be a projected downturn in projected revenues over the next 2 years. And over the long term, they have also baked in a few other recessions as well, but we leave that up to the economists and the experts to give us that information.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Hom? Thank you. Next item.
Your next item is your Series 2014A Bonds Mode Change and Ancillary Services.
In May of this year, your board directed staff and PFM financial advisors to proceed with a plan to reduce debt service costs by moving the Series 2014A bonds directly purchased by Wells Fargo into the publicly traded market. This change is expected to save the authority about $235,000 per year under current market conditions, or about $1.2 million over the next 5 years, which is the term of the liquidity facility. The cost to complete the transaction is about $330,000, which the authority will recover over an 18-month period with the savings. The cost to complete the transaction will be paid for with pay-go cash, not financed. Sumitomo Mitsui Banking Corporation will provide liquidity support, and Wells Fargo will provide remarketing agent services. Both firms offered competitive terms for their respective services. The documents that are attached to this item need board approval so that the conversion can be completed as planned on October 31st. To provide further context and answer questions, we have with us today Peter Schellenberger, Managing Director, PFM Financial Advisors.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Again, I'm Peter Schellenberger from PFM. I come from the land of shut-off power in Oakland. It's good to see that you have the lights on here.
Yes. You can spend the night if you like.
I might have to. I might do some work here if you don't mind. Just a quick overview. I'd put this in the category
It just increases the sales tax revenue if you spend the night.
Exactly, right. I would characterize this not as major surgery, but really sort of targeted strategy to achieve lower cost. And as Tim pointed out, that lower cost is expected to be in $235,000 annual range. I'll give you a broad overview for some context. The authority currently has about $356 million of bonds outstanding. Those bonds will mature through 2039. It's a fairly, by most standards, a low leveraged program. And what I mean by that is your debt service on these bonds is $18 million annually for the next 10 years through 2028. When you compare that to last year's sales tax revenues of $131 million, you have about $7.30 for every dollar of debt service today coming in through sales tax. So we call that over 7 times coverage. Other agencies throughout the state, highly rated agencies, might have 2.5, 3 times coverage. So here you stand at 7.5 times coverage without the expectation to issue additional debt. That in part supports the AA+, the very high ratings that Norm rattled off. Tim and ourselves met with Fitch and S&P several weeks ago. Continue to make the push for a AAA upgrade. We think you're, as an authority, worthy of that, well positioned for that AAA. And we continue to make that case, and you're right on the cusp. But the only step from AA+ is AAA, so we continue to make that push. Here, as Tim pointed out, it's focused on the 2014 A bonds, which are currently a privately held loan by Wells Fargo. Post-tax reform, the cost of that loan went up about 22 basis points, or 0.22%. That's meaningful. On the 2014, that's $106 million. So the simple math is 0.22% times 106 million is about 235,000. In reality, I'm going to point this out, and it's in a memo I think that Tim has provided to you. That 22 basis points compares two data points. The Wells Fargo loan, and then if you were to trade equal to the following index, the Security Industries Financial Market Association Index, the SIFMA index. Let me tell you this, it's the short-term it's an index that reflects the cost of short-term high-grade weekly paper, which is what the 2014 A bonds are. It's a short-term index. So here's the takeaway. If we move from the current Wells Fargo cost to the SIFMA index, it's a 22 basis point savings. That's what we're saying is going to generate the $235,000 cost savings. In reality, over the last year, the authority's bonds, partly because of the strong rating, have been trading 15 basis points lower than the SIFMA index. So if we move from the Wells Fargo loan and trade where we expect you to trade, which is really 15 basis points below SIFMA, then the annual savings will be closer to $400,000. We don't want to overstate that, so we're banking that you'll trade on the index, but historically you're trading 15 basis points lower. So I think there's some upside to this move, but conservatively, as Tim points out, over the next 5 years, about $1.2 million in cost savings. So that's the rationale and the justification, and in terms of total cost to execute, it's about $330,000 for rating agencies and legal and financial and banking fees, which should be recouped in an 18-month period. So,
Anyone have any questions about this transaction?
I'll move the item.
A motion, is there a second?
Second.
Please vote. Helen O'Connell. Thank you, Peter.
Unanimous vote with let it be known that
What?
Miller has abstained. I was reading the votes.
Go ahead, Helen.
Good morning, Board. My name is Helen O'Connell, and I am glad to see that you're saving the taxpayers money by diversifying and getting the best bang for your buck. Thank you for being conscientious and forthright and upfront with all your financial dealings.
Thanks very much. Next item is comments from Authority Board. Are there any comments?
All good news.
Okay, let's have more meetings like this. And this one's adjourned.
Things like this.